This is a breastfeeding class, and of course, I'll be sharing everything about breastfeeding. But more than breastfeeding, most of you will learn to understand that breastfeeding is more than just the breast. Okay. And since we'll be spending a little bit of time together, I'd like to introduce you my family. This is my family photo. Nice, huh? I have 4 children, and Damien was 23 years old this year. In 24 years ago, when I was pregnant with him, yeah. In case you're wondering, I'm 47 years old this year. If you try guessing, I may get very sad. Okay, so I'm 47, and my eldest son is 23 years old. So 24 years ago, when my husband and I discovered that we were pregnant, it was a very, very exciting time for us lah. And the first thing we did was not to go and see a doctor. No, I just pee on the stick and say, "Hey, pregnant, yay!" Okay, and then we actually got very excited. And one of the first thing we did was we went to the bookshop to look for information. And I found this book. It's quite thick, about this thick, and it says pregnancy to 2 years old. And it was a lot of information really inside it, a lot of words inside it. And I'm the kind of person who when I read a book, I'll read it from cover to cover. So there was one chapter on feeding your infant child. Can you guess with me how many pages talk about breastfeeding? That chapter on feeding your infant child was about maybe 40-50 pages long. Just guess with me by typing into the chat group, okay? How many pages actually talk about breastfeeding? Yes, Capri, thank you. It was about 5 pages that talk about breastfeeding, on how breastfeeding is good for the mother, breastfeeding is good for the baby, breastfeeding is good. It seems apparently it's good for everybody, and all you have to do is put the baby to the breast, and the baby will latch, and everything will be fine. Yeah. So I also attended a class on antenatal. Class that was actually it was actually eight session class, and it was run by a midwife, and one of the topics was on breastfeeding. So a lot of the class, the balance of class, they talk about painkillers management how to bathe a baby and all the stuff. So I was really waiting for the breastfeeding class, and when I was there for the breastfeeding class, the midwife actually asked, "How many of you want to breastfeed?" And I put up my hand. There were actually about 40 of us in the class, and 2 men. So I put out my hand, the other woman put out her hand, and our husband had forced to put out their hand up. And the rest of them didn't put out their hand now. So the midwife say, "Oh, congratulations, I'm very happy that you are going to breastfeed. But see how long you can tahan lah." We're like, "What? What do you mean by that?" And she said that breastfeeding is actually good. It's very easy, but it's usually it's not very good for the mother. It's very good for the baby, but it's usually very difficult. All right. And if you cannot breastfeed, it's totally fine. All right. And she proceeded on to teach us about how to choose formula milk and make formula milk. Now, this is 24 years ago. 24 years ago, when we looked into the formula milk aisle, we go and buy formula milk. It was there was actually a few brands, of course, but very few choices, as in formula milk for lactose intolerance, formula milk for digestive issues and all that. Very few. But today there are so many different kind of formula milk, all right? And even at that time, I was thinking, wow, so many formula milk in the market, how am I going to choose? And my husband said, "No need to choose, we're going to breastfeed." Say, "Yeah, we're going to breastfeed, so no need to choose." And I was actually very confident after attending the class, after reading the book. And by the way, the book has only about 5 pages on breastfeeding your baby. And the rest of the pages talks about how formula milk and how to make the formula milk for your baby. So I did read through it, but I was not very confident about it because I'm going to breastfeed my baby. And then 24 years ago, when you click on the internet, you actually go, you can go and wash your car, bathe the dog, and wash the toilet, and come back. It hasn't downloaded yet, Yeah, 24 years ago, the internet was like that. So there was hardly any information on the internet about breastfeeding at all. And I found one website that has some information, but it has no links at all. It was just one whole page that you can just scroll down to read about breastfeeding, and it has the same information that I've been getting from the book and from my antenatal class that says that all you have to do is put the baby to the breast and the baby will suck, and that is how it is. And so I was pretty confident and said, okay, I'll just put the baby to the breast and the baby will suck. Then in 23 years ago, I delivered to my eldest son, and it was quite a blur. The whole experience, the whole memory I had of it was quite a blur. Baby was born, and then the nurse said, "Congratulations, Miss Young, you have a baby boy." And then he was just taken away. I didn't get to touch him again, didn't get to see him. I was not wearing my glasses or my contact lens. And then he was just taken away. And the doctor did something to me, and then after that, all I did was waited, and I was pushed to my room. And then my husband was there. Yes. Then my mom came and visit me, and my mom said, "Hey, where's the baby? Yeah?" I was like, "Oh yeah, where's the baby? Yeah?" I haven't seen the baby at all. So I pressed the bell for the nurse, and then the nurse came, and I said, "Nurse, where's my baby?" And then the nurse said, "Your baby is in the nursery." Yeah. I said, "Oh, can I see him?" Then she gave me that kind of look like, "You want to see him? Okay, you go to the nursery." Yeah. I said, I have to walk to the nursery to see a baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can. We cannot bring the baby to you. This is 20 over years ago. And they say for safety purpose and hospital policy, they don't bring the baby to us. So I'm like, okay, but I want to breastfeed him. How? Then say, you go to the nursery and breastfeed, but what? And she gave me that kind of look like, why you want to breastfeed? You just deliver your baby. You shouldn't walk too much. And then my mom was there, and my mother was like, yes, 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 it's true. You just deliver a baby. You shouldn't walk. It's correct. And then I was like, why? And a lot of times, a lot of you have been in the same shoes with me. Everybody tell you, don't do this, don't do that, right? And they say, if you do it, if you don't listen, next time you old already, then you will know. Correct? You ask them why. They're like, don't ask. Next time you're old already, then you will know. So I'm like, I just delivered my baby. I cannot walk. Yeah, don't walk. Next time you're old already, then you will know. But I'm a little bit stubborn, and I told the nurse, no, I want to see my baby. Then the nurse saying, then you go to the nursery. And then my husband asked for a wheelchair, and then they said, no, wheelchair is only for sick patient. You have to walk there. You can walk one, don't worry. So I walked and I was walking. My mother scolded, and then cannot scold me because I'm her daughter, and she knows I'm quite stubborn. So she scolded my husband. And then daddy, if your mother-in-law is like my mother, scolding you, then you'll be like what my husband do. You see, you look at my husband carefully. My husband, that kind of face or not. Always smiling, always, yeah. So the best response you can give to your mother-in-law is, "Mother, your daughter was stubborn like you. What to do? She won't listen." So that's how I was like, okay, I didn't listen. I walked to the nursery, and at the nursery, it was quite big. There were a lot of babies at that time. I think about 10 or 12 babies. So I was allowed in and was asked to wear a hospital gown because they say for hygiene purpose. I don't know why. And I got in, and they showed me to this chair, like hospital chair, where it's screwed to the ground one night, cannot move it around. It's not like a sofa chair, or it's not like any of the plastic chairs, it's just screwed to the ground. I think they're scared that we will steal the chairs. I'm not sure. And then I sat down, and they gave me my baby, and my first experience with my baby is like, yeah, why so ugly one? Is it no look like a monkey? So yeah, I'm just telling you that I was so unprepared on how a newborn actually looked like. I thought I've done everything. I thought I studied everything. I thought I was very well prepared. But when I look at my first look at my baby, I was actually rather in a shock. That actually shows my unpreparedness in my mind, right? And then I was just holding baby like that, and just like looking at him. And then I just say, how? I asked the nurse, how? Then the nurse said, you angkat baju bagi makan saja lah. Very easy. So okay, I just lifted, just lift, and I was a bit shy, and because there were a few other people standing at the glass window looking into the baby's room. So I was a bit shy, and I was trying to cover up, that I had the hospital gown and I had my own shirt, and then I try, and then finally when I got the baby to come onto my breast. And my first experience of breastfeeding was one of extreme pain. Yes, I had a natural birth. Yeah, all four of my babies, I actually have a natural vaginal birth. Yeah, and my eldest son was actually born at 4.2 kg. Just to let you know, 4.2 kg. So he was very big, but I naturally vaginally delivered him. And at that time, the doctors never told me that I need a cesarean or anything like that. Just delivered the baby, just like that. But today, things seems a bit different. So my first experience of breastfeeding was one of extreme pain, and I was just cringing. And then the nurse happened to pass by. I just grabbed hold of her. I said, "Oh, nurse, sakit ah." Then the nurse was looking at me, look at my breast like that, and then I just say, "Ayo, okay lah, tentunya sakit. You think being mommy so easy ah? Don't worry, let the baby suck. Nanti your puting will get hardened up, and then no more sakit." So I was like, okay, I will tahan. Oh, wait. Wow, it was very, very painful. So I cannot take it anymore. I push him away. And then he was like, wanna cry. Oh, no, don't cry, don't cry. I didn't know how to handle a baby. And then I tried to put him on my second breast. And then the moment he put on my second breast, why I felt like he has grown teeth. Yeah. It was very, very, very painful. I pushed him away and he started to cry. And then the nurse ran back. And the nurse was like, ayo, kenapa, kenapa? So I said, I'm not sure, kenapa, kenapa? I didn't know how to handle him, and the nurse took him away from me, and the nurse was carrying me. And then I remember something the nurse did until today. She started to squeeze my nipples, She said, oh my God, oh alamak. And she was just pulling and pulling and pulling like that. And I was like, what are you doing? Can you please stop? And she was like, hey, you tengok ini. Tentulah, you tak ada susu lah. She said, look at you. No wonder your baby is crying. You have no milk. I was like, what do you mean I have no milk? Then she was like, tengok. She was just pressing and pressing and pressing. And I was looking, really, nothing coming out. But I was in a lot of pain. And I said, okay, please stop. Don't press me anymore, right? And she was like, oh my God, you have no milk. No wonder your baby cry. Okay, don't cry, okay. Then I'll ask the nurse, what should I do? And she looked at me, right? She said, you tak tahu You tak tahu I was like, tahu apa? Now, mommy and daddies, I want to tell you something about myself. I am a Form 5 science student. No. I graduate I pass my SPM. But at that point, I felt like I was the stupidest person on earth. It's like, tahu apa? She said, tentulah, the first few days, 1, 2, 3 hari, you have no milk one. You have no milk. That's why your baby is crying. Your baby is starving. So I'm like, oh, okay, if I have no milk, then what to do? Give susu tepung. What to do? So I'm like, give susu tepung. No. I want to breastfeed. The book say don't give anything. I want to breastfeed. And then they say, you want to starve your baby, is it? And I was like, no, I don't want to starve my baby. You hear the word starve your baby, and the baby is crying and screaming, right? I was really, very upset already. Then she said, go. You go out. Don't worry. Every baby like that one. We give susu tepung first, then after that you can breastfeed. So she chased me out of the room. I stand next to my mom and I stand next to my husband at the window looking at the nurses, and I watched the nurse give my baby a bottle of milk. All right, and I was drinking. I want you to remember this information. Now, the baby was given 90 ml of formula milk. 90 ml is equivalent to 3 ounce of formula milk, and he was just drinking. And my mother was standing outside there saying, wow, look at my grandson, so clever to drink milk. Oh. And then when the nurse finished drinking the milk, the nurse burped him. He vomited all the milk. Ayo, look at my grandson, so clever to burp. Oh. Okay. And I was just standing outside there looking at the nurse feeding my baby, and I was like, yeah, I have no milk there. I feel like nothing one. How come I feel like nothing one? And then my mother was saying, I tell you already, cannot breastfeed one. I said, why? I know, but cannot be like the books all say can breastfeed. Sure, can breastfeed. Yes, I tell you so many times, Chinese no milk one. Huh? Chinese no milk? Yeah. Your grandmother got black hair, right? Your sister got black hair. I got black hair. You also got black hair, right? I was like, your grandmother wears spectacles, your sister wears spectacles, I also wear spectacles, you also wear spectacles, right? Yeah. Your grandmother got no milk, your sister got no milk, I got no milk. You think you're so clever, you got milk? I'm like, oh, Chinese no milk one, it's genetics. So I was like, yeah, how come I never thought of it before? I am more than a Form 5 graduate. Okay. Science student. But when I listened to my mom that time, right, it makes perfect sense to me. I was like, yeah, how come I never thought of it that way? And I said, I never thought, no, in China, if Chinese no milk, in China, what do people drink? Formula milk, what else do people drink? Okay. Then when there was no formula milk, cow's milk. So I was like very confused. And then my mom went home. I was very upset. And I try, I cannot give up so easily, right? So I will run downstairs every time. I'll feel like I need to breastfeed my baby. I'll run downstairs, and sometimes the nurse will tell me, oh, sudah bagi susu to your baby. Sometimes I will just wait. I will sit outside the nursery and I'll just wait for my baby to be hungry. When he cried, the nurse will call me in. I will just go in and I will just breastfeed my baby. And this is how I feel. And I will just tahan again. Okay. And then I couldn't tahan anymore. I was crying and it was so painful. I pushed him away, and then the nurse would take him away, and the nurse would give me a look that says, come, I tell you already, you don't listen, it's up to you, like, you stupid, no, or whatever. I actually felt very stupid. I felt very bad. I can't wait to go home. So I went home and I did my confinement in my mom's house. The worst mistake ever. I had my confinement. My mom, every time when we were home, every time the baby cried, my mom would pick the baby and say, "Oh, your mommy got no milk for you, oh. Come, Popo, sayang, Popo, go and feed." Now, my mom is not a bad person, okay? She's just a Chinese grandmother. So she will take my baby and she will start feeding the baby formula milk. In the hospital, it was 3 ounces of formula milk. When I left the hospital on the third day, my baby was given 4 ounces of formula milk by my mom. And then from 4 ounces, and then he will warm it. And then my mom will say, "Aya, warm it so much already, still hungry, I think, and then give some more." And then sometimes he will cry, 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 cry. After eating, 2 hours later, he will cry. My mother will give some more and say, "Hey, cannot be, must be more, must give some more." So by the time he's 7 days old, he's drinking 9 ounces of milk. Okay, I just want you to remember 9 ounces of milk, 270 ml of formula milk. And what was happening to me? I felt like I have the biggest breast in the entire world. It was so bad. It was so painful. It grew to the point that I can't even see I can't see whatever is down there. I can't lean back. I can't see. I can't close my arms because the pain and the swell is up to my armpit level. Wow, it was very, very difficult. I cannot breathe properly because the pain on my chest, and it was like when I lie down, right? Wow, the pain is really, really unbearable. I was crying most of the time. And every time I cry, my mother will say, "Don't cry, don't cry. You cry already. Next time you're old already, then you will." Yeah, you will know. But this one she will say, "You'll go blind if you cry." And I was like so stressed, like I don't want to go blind. I'm very scared. And you hear all this, "Oh, next time you're old already." Yeah, I was very scared. I was very sunful, very in distress, right? And then I just couldn't stop myself from crying. And then my breast was so painful. I called up the hospital. They just tell me, "Oh, you come back to the hospital. We give you a pill and we just take the milk out." I mean, it was just stop the milk. I said, "No, no, no, I don't want to stop the milk. I want to breastfeed." So none of my friends had breastfed before. None of them know what to do. My husband called up all his colleagues. My husband is 9 years older to me. So he called up some of his friends who have delivered baby before and said, "What can we do?" And none of his friends breastfed. And all of them say that, "Why you want your wife to breastfeed? You don't love your wife. Why you want to force your wife to breastfeed?" So it's like, no, no. I say, "Yeah, your wife is suffering so much. Get her the medicine to stop the breast milk." So my husband tried to convince me and just say, "Maybe you want the medicine." I say, "No, I don't want. I want to breastfeed." And my husband is like, "Okay, okay." And somebody suggested us to get a breast pump. So last time, 23 years ago, to get a breast pump, you can only find it in the pharmacy, nowhere else. No Jaya just go, no baby shops, no nothing. Okay, you can only find it in pharmacy. And the breast pump that you can buy for 400-500 today, cost about 2,000 to 3,000 last time. And just to give you an idea, my take-home salary was less than 1,000. My husband's take-home salary was less than 1,500. And this is 23 years ago. And I to invest 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 in a breast pump is really ridiculous. But I told my husband, "Please go and buy a breast pump." So he went out and he came back. He was so happy. He said, "I found a pharmacy going out of business. And they were selling this breast pump 50 ringgit only. I do not know whether you have seen it before. Maybe you go to the museum, you may see it. Okay. You put the breast pump to your breast in tarik one. Have you seen before? Alright. So we watched all the breast pump parts, and my sister was there, my mom was there, my husband was there. And then for my first pumping, I just put the breast and I tarik lor, tarik lor, tarik lor. Nothing come out lor. So I tarik some more lor, and then shook, wow, blood came out. And I freaked out. My mom freaked out. My mom started screaming and said, "Oh, you stop all this nonsense. I tell you, if you have cancer, you die. Next time, who's going to look after your son now?" And I was very, very scared. And when my husband is scared, his face is like, okay. And then he also say, like, "I think it's okay, it's okay, give up. I feel like I cannot give up. I feel like I was crying. I was just like, I cannot give up. So what I did was I called a few more people, and they actually told me to get a hospital grade pump. Don't get the tarik one, get the hospital real electrical pump. So I found one, and it was quite expensive also. You have to pay like 180 for rental per month. You have to pay for 2 months rental, and then you have to buy all the extra gadget. So I purchased it, I bought it, and I just start pumping. And I was just pumping. The first time I pump, got milk, one drop hanging there at the pump. It didn't even drop to the bottom of the bottle. Just hanging there only. I was like, oh, And I keep pumping like every 2 hours I pump now, but not much milk. The most I get every session I get was only 0.5 ml, no, 0.5 ounce lah. And I managed to pump a little bit, and I say pump a little bit, and I say, and then my mother will say, "Ayo, you pump so little. How can it be enough for your baby?" Because my baby was drinking 9 ounce. I was pumping not even enough to cover the bottom of the bottle. And every time I pump, my mother will say things like, "People get baby, yeah. People carry baby. You get baby, yeah. You carry pump." Oh, that was very, very hurtful. Now I want to tell you, I love my mother very much, and she loved me very much also. I was very hurt. Okay, I was crying most of the time, and true enough, I mean, I see that how little milk that I was pumping around. Um, I was just so depressed. And then one day, I think when baby was about 3 weeks old, 3.5 weeks old, I was standing at the veranda of my mom's house. I was carrying my baby. I was just thinking how easy it is. I think it's better if I just throw my baby over the balcony lah. And then I jump. I was actually thinking like that. So, and then I said, "Hey, better don't jump from here, because jump from here, I may not die. I may just break a leg. I won't die. I will ask my husband, take me to the hospital. Then I go to the top floor and then I jump." I was actually thinking like that. So my husband would that guy come back and say, "Come and say, what are you doing?" And so I was looking at him. I can even tell him. I remember telling him, "No, I'm thinking of throwing him over." Then my husband was like, "Okay, okay." Give me the baby. So my husband took over the baby and we went to see a doctor. I went back to see my gynae, and I was just crying at my gynae's clinic. And then my gynae spoke to me, and I spoke some sense into me lah. Basically, I just say, what's the point of you forcing yourself to breastfeed, getting upset because you cannot breastfeed, and then you kill yourself? What about your baby? So from that time, I made a decision to stop breastfeeding. So I stopped breastfeeding. So that was how my whole breastfeeding journey with my first baby ended. And then when I was pregnant with my second baby, I've already made up my mind. I'm not going to breastfeed. And this time around, I had my pregnancy in USA because my husband has a job and the whole family moved to US. And I had a very good pregnancy, made up my mind not to breastfeed anymore. And then the day I delivered the baby came out and was very different. The baby landed on my chest, and I was just looking at her like that. And the nurse was like, "Congratulations, Miss Young, beautiful baby girl. Come, let us help you to breastfeed her." I nearly pushed her away. I was like, "No, no, 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 I don't want to breastfeed. What are you talking about?" Then the nurse said, this is a breastfeeding hospital. If you don't want to breastfeed, you shouldn't be in this hospital." I'm like, "But doctor, I told you I'm not going to breastfeed. Or no, why didn't you tell me it's a breastfeeding hospital?" No, I start crying again. No, okay, very easy to cry. And then the nurse was like, okay. If you don't want to breastfeed, we will send you to the other hospital, which is about 4 blocks away. We'll call the ambulance. And it's winter time, it's November. And my mother's voice is still in my ear. "No, oh, you go to USA, remember, you still don't get cold, don't go out in the winter time." So I'm like, "Oh, no, I cannot go to the hospital, I cannot go out, I'm Chinese." Okay. And the nurse was like, "Oh, okay." And she was like, "Okay, if you don't want that, do you want to see a lactation consultant?" And I'm like, "What's that? I've never heard of the word lactation consultant before." And she said, "A breastfeeding consultant?" Breastfeeding consultant, I know lah. Why people don't use proper names? Lactation consultant lah and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, I will. How much? Very expensive. It's actually $100 per hour, but because I'm in a breastfeeding hospital, it's free. Oh, free, yeah. Chinese, Malaysian, free. Okay. Yes, okay. So the lactation consultant came and spoke to me in my room and spent 2.5 hours with me listening to all my stories. And then she said, "Do you want to try to breastfeed?" Actually, I don't want to know. But Malaysian Chinese, very difficult to say no, right? I just said, "Oh, okay, let's try, right?" And she helped me to hold my baby. She helped me to lean back. She helped me to do like that. And then she said, "Okay, all right." The baby. I was like waiting for the pain. How come no pain? Is she really sucking? I have to really feel that she's sucking, but no pain. So I was like, "Hey, how come no pain?" And she said, "Breastfeeding should not be painful. If it's painful, something is wrong." Okay, remember this, mommy and daddy. Breastfeeding should not be painful. If it's painful, something is wrong. So I'm like, okay, this feels good. But wait, I remember this breast is worse than this breast. Let's try this breast. So we actually unlatched the baby and we tried this breast. It was a bit uncomfortable, but helped me to adjust the position. And the baby was like, "Oh, wow, she's breastfeeding." And But then after that, after she breastfeed, as I was breastfeeding, the lactation consultant explained a lot of things to me. I was like listening and said, "Oh, no wonder." Then we took her off the breast and we burped her. Now, this is something that does not happen to most people, but it happened to me. When we burped her, she got milk come out of her mouth. Oh, that means she really got drink my milk, right? I was so happy. I told my husband, "Hey, you know all the formula milk we buy, throw away, throw away." And then my husband, right, Daddy, are you still with me? If ever your wife, do you know that when your wife deliver baby, right, she will go a little bit crazy. Did anyone tell you that before? She'll go a little bit crazy. Okay, hormones. And if you still want to stay married to this wife for forever, every crazy thing she say during her confinement, especially, you have three response good enough. All right, you want to know what's the three response? You look at your wife and you say, "Okay, dear, whatever you want, dear, is done for you, dear." Understand? Okay, and then you will remain happily married forever. Okay, and so I told my husband, "Oh, what the formula milk? Throw it, throw it, throw it. You don't need it anymore. I can breastfeed." And my husband is like, "Okay." And guess what he did? He didn't do it. Okay. So I was so happy. And when we went home, it was an easy delivery, it was an easy. I went home and remember I still have an elder son. I still have to take care of my elder son. And then you know what's the worst thing that can happen to a new mother? You know, whether it's your second baby or your third baby, you know, as long as you have a new baby, you have a new mother. Is at night, especially at night, I don't know what night time is the longest time. I breastfeed, she cry, I breastfeed my baby, I change her diaper, I burp her, she cry, I breastfeed her, I change her diaper, she cry, I breastfeed her, I burp her, I change her diaper. And then the my husband next to me, sleeping. And then he wakes up in the morning, he go, "Oh, wow, I hardly slept the whole night." Oh. You hardly slept the whole night. Guess what I was doing? I don't know whether to kill him or kill myself or kill my baby. I was so upset, right? Lack of sleep, hormones, everything. Yeah, we go crazy a little bit. In my case, I went crazy a lot. I can't remember whether it's the second night, third night. I cannot remember lah. Not at home lah. I woke up. I really cannot tahan anymore. I woke my husband up. I just gave him the baby. I said, "I don't care what you do to her. I'm going to sleep." So I went to sleep. Remember in US, we were alone. We had no help at all. We had no confinement lady at all. All right. And then after 2 hours, my breast woke me up because my breast filled up with milk. So I woke up, "Oh, what happened to my baby?" You know, and then I saw something that proves to you God is not fair. For those of you who believe in God, I want to tell you something. God is not fair. No. I saw my husband with my baby sleeping like that. Both of them sleeping. And I tell you, if it was me who carried the baby, my baby would be like looking for the breast. But on my husband, they were sleeping. And then next to them was an empty bottle of milk. My husband not first time daddy, my experience that day already. So when I threw the baby at him, what he did was he went to the kitchen and made a bottle of formula milk and gave it to my baby. And then the moment I think I wake her up to feed. She wake up already. Okay, looking for me. So I have to feed her. And of course my husband woke up too. And then my husband was like, we have so much formula milk we bought already from Malaysia. Why not we at night we give her formula milk, daytime you feed lah. So I'm like, "Oh, what a great idea. How come I never thought of it before?" Yeah, that's what we should do. So nighttime, my daughter was formula fed and daytime I breastfeed. Okay. And sometimes, nighttime, two bottles, sometimes daytime, because I'm handling my eldest son on my own. I cannot tahan, so I will give a bottle. And then the more I give the bottles at night, right, the more I feel like my baby is struggling, like I don't have enough milk like that. But anyway, it is true. If you do not breastfeed at night, you lose your milk supply the next day. But anyway, I managed to still 50% breastfeed her. 50% breastfeed, 50% formula milk. And I was actually very proud of myself. Good job, Gina, because I didn't plan to breastfeed at all. And here I am 50% breastfeeding. Okay. And this baby, this second baby of mine, a wonderful baby. She actually went to sleep from 7 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. For 12 hours, she was asleep without waking up. The first few times it happened, we actually, is she still breathing? Oh, yeah, she's still breathing. So should we wake her up? And my husband said, "No, don't wake her up. Why you want to wake up baby? Let the baby sleep." So I let the baby sleep. Actually cannot But I was very blessed. We were very blessed. Nothing happened to our baby. But actually, cannot one. You should always, maximum of time you can allow a newborn baby to sleep below 3 months old is 4 hours. 4 hours. Okay. But anyway, in Malaysia, in US, we were in US. Nighttime, you know lah, those of you who have been to US, no nightlife one, no active. And because baby was so good, baby slept from 7 to 7. My husband and I had got nothing to do, so we made baby number three. Okay. When I was three, when my second baby was 3 months old, I went to the I went back to the clinic for her checkup, and her clinic was just at my gynae's clinic. And my gynae saw me. They said, "Hey, it's time for your checkup also." I said, "Oh yeah, I'm good." They said, "Okay, good. Since you're here, check up now." So I check up, pee in a cup, and then the doctor say, "Congratulations, you're pregnant." I was like, oh, "How is that possible? I'm breastfeeding now. How do I get pregnant?" And the doctor said, "Well, if you do not know the answer, I do not know how to explain to you." Okay. Anyway, I was pregnant. And my third baby was born exactly 1 year from my second baby. They share the same birthday. So the pregnancy was quite okay, but the doctor advised me to stop breastfeeding. So I finally stopped breastfeeding around 5 to 6 months old. I started the baby on solid food, so I stopped totally breastfeeding. And remember the lactation consultant, she called me up and she said, "Hey, Miss Yong, how are you?" I said, "I'm pregnant." And she was like, "What?" Anyway, she called me up to befriend me, and she wanted to invite me to the hospital to a breastfeeding clinic. And I went. I have no friends, so I went and make a lot of friends. And there I was actually very, very good. Coffee and tea is always free. That's free, Malaysian Chinese. So I spent most of my time there, and I learned so many things. I was sent for a lot of classes and courses. There's a lot of classes that is free to attend, and I just attended. Some of it are paid classes, and some of it I paid, to attend. And I learned so many things about breastfeeding. I said, no wonder I've done this mistake, I've done that mistake. Okay, I'll make it better. And my third baby, honest, I fully 100% breastfed her. I'm so happy. So I fully 100% breastfed her, totally without any formula milk until she was about 10 months old. I was offered to study health sciences, a degree in one of the local colleges that will lead up to a degree in breastfeeding. So in order to study that, I can do some of it online, some of it on through to a television. There was one subtopic, I have to be in campus. I have to go, and the campus is actually about 45 minutes away. I have to drive 45 minutes there. I spend about 3 or 4 hours there and then come back 45 minutes. So I'll be away from my baby for at least 6 to 8 hours. And my baby is 10 months old, still breastfeeding. And I was like, oh, what to do? And I tried to pump. I tried to rent some pumps. Try to buy. Before I buy, I rent. There was a shop that allows you to try first, and all the pumps didn't suit me. I pump, nothing comes out. I could breastfeed obviously because 10 months I've been breastfeeding. But I couldn't pump. Now I fall into the category of mothers. Some mothers cannot pump. They do not respond to the pump one, and I'm one of them. And there's a lot of women. In fact, most women have trouble pumping. Okay, I know that you have heard a lot of mothers who pump only and a wonderful result, but most of us have problems pumping. So I'm one of them. I couldn't pump. And then one of my friend actually told me, "Hey, why did you just give fresh cow's milk? Fresh cow's milk, is just as well because we do not want to buy any formula milk." So I said, "Oh, what a good idea." So I went and buy fresh cow's milk and I fed it to my baby, 1 bottle a day just to make her get used to it. And then after 1 week, suddenly about 1 week of testing her on fresh cow's milk, suddenly one morning she wake up, she cannot breathe, she was wheezing, and her whole body has a lot of rashes. I rushed her to the hospital, to the emergency room. My pediatrician was there, and the pediatrician said, "I thought you're breastfeeding." I said, "Yes, I'm breastfeeding." I said, "But this looks like cow's milk allergies. Did you give her any cow's milk?" I was like, "Yeah, I did give her some fresh cow's milk because I want to go back to school." And then he scolded me. He said, "Do you know human babies below 1 year old cannot take fresh cow's milk?" I didn't know. And the doctor said, "If anything happened to your daughter, to your baby, it's your fault." I don't go back to the daughter, but horrible daughter. But it was my fault, and my baby suffered. My baby almost died. Yeah. She was put on nebulizer. She was put on a lot of medication to reverse the cow's milk allergies. And from that time onwards, she suffered from. That was the time I pinpointed it to the time she started suffering from eczema. huge amount of eczema where luckily her face is okay, but her neck, her body, her waist, her diaper area will always be red and bloody. When I take off her diaper, that it will bleed. There will be blood. All right. Her neck will be so full of sores. Sometimes as a 10-month-old, she can scratch herself already and it will be all raw, and she will scratch her armpit. It will be all raw and bloody. I have to cut her fingernails very, 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 very to the root lah, So she suffered very, very badly, and I suffered along with her with housemaid allergies. Now, when it comes to my fourth baby, I know everything already by the time. Okay, I promised myself that I'm gonna do it right, and I did. She was fully 100% breastfed. Seriously, 100% breastfed. And he in his 18 years old this year. In his 18 years of life, he has never completed one whole uh course of antibiotics. Seriously. He was sick. He gets sick in the morning, and then oh yeah, you're having a fever. Wait, I call daddy to come home, and then we go and see the doctor because I can't only have one car. So when daddy comes home, want to go and see the doctor, he's okay. He's jumping around, dong, 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 dong already. There was one time he was very, very sick. Took him to see the doctor. Doctor said he needs antibiotics. So we force feed him the antibiotic. He was crying, and then he ran around the house and he vomited. And then by the time you have 4 kids, you look at your son like that. Never mind. Okay. And the antibiotic never finished it. Okay. So today he is my strongest, he's my most the healthiest kid of all, my elder compared to my elder son who's always coughing, who's always sneezing, who always have allergies problem, who has eczema all over his body. So I'm comparing. Even my second baby who was not fully breastfed is actually far healthier than my first baby who was formula fed. So this is my story. This is what I've done. And some of you may be asking, wondering, why do I spend so much time telling you about my story? It's because I want you to know where I come from. I want you to know my experiences so that you will not repeat the same thing. All right, you will not repeat the same thing. And I am not a doctor, obviously. I'm actually an accountant by profession. I count other people's money. All right, and it's very hard work to count other people's money. So I started to count my own money. It was very, very depressing. So look at other people's breast is happier lah. So I started to help out in breastfeeding. Okay, I've been a breastfeeding consultant for the past 18 years. I am trained under Malaysian Ministry of Health, WHO, and WABA. As a breastfeeding consultant, do I have qualification? You have to understand in Malaysia or actually worldwide, there is actually two types of LC. You hear people say, my LC says this, my LC says that, but LC stands for lactation counselor. Okay, lactation counselor. They are most of them that you see in the market are trained under Malaysian Ministry of Health, 40 hours of training. And most of them are nurses. And when they are trained for like 40 hours, they also manage to babies who are 1 to 3 days old, 4 days old, 5 days old. But they don't really have much experience in managing babies above that. Because you leave the hospital already, and then there's another group of lactation consultants. They're called IBCLC, International Board Certified Lactation Consultant. Okay, International Board Certified Lactation Consultant really go through a lot of studies. It's like a degree program. I am not an IBCLC. I have gone through the program, I've gone through the studies, but I didn't do the exams for some personal reasons. I didn't do the exam. Okay, but I was trained under WHO, World Health Organization, under WABA, World Alliance on Breastfeeding and Children, and under Malaysian Ministry of Health. Okay, so my official title should be a lactation counselor, LC, but I prefer to call myself a breastfeeding consultant because I think it's easier for people to understand. Now, there's a lot of other breastfeeding or lactation consultant out there who is trained at 40 hours, who are not nurses as well. Usually, they are confinement centers operators because they're confinement centers operators, they feel like they need to know something, so they went for the 40 hours class. And then they come back and say that, oh, my confinement center has LC. But how much experience they have, I don't know. Most of them don't have experience. Some of them have never even breastfed their own children before. For me, I have been a breastfeeding consultant since 17 years ago. My youngest son is 18 years old. I started being a breastfeeding consultant. That means I started really saying that, okay, I can help you when my son was 1 year old. So for 17 years of experience, I've seen a lot of cases, I've seen a lot of things. So most of the time, 99% of the time, I'm able to help in 99% of the cases, which I'm very happy to be able to share this with you. Now, T-Barn, I'm the founder of T-Barn, the Breastfeeding Advocates Network. We have actually trained a group over the past few years, a group of about 50 to 60 breastfeeding counselors. They are mothers themselves, so they have breastfed before. Or if they have not breastfed before, they are health professionals, because we allow doctors, dentists, pharmacists, and midwives and nurses to join us, even though they have no experience, because we need health professionals. They become certified breastfeeding counselors, but they also continue their education with us. That means they are not once qualified, they are left on their own. No, they always have to come back to us for the cases, and anything that they cannot answer, we will help them to answer, help them to solve it. So this is who we are. Okay, this is a group that we have. So, and this is why I'm sharing this with you.